Alrighty, so welcome back to Harry Tech, and we got an interesting video today. Something that's it's commonly known but not commonly understood, or even it's commonly used, but most people, when they're getting into it, it can be a bit overwhelming and confusing. And we're going to cover that today. What are torrents and how to use them, and how to use them safely, most importantly. I'm just going to go ahead and get to the explaining part of what a torrent is, and just so you have a good understanding and grasp of the concept. Alrighty, so I went ahead and grabbed an image that I could find that would best describe this system. I don't know what this website is, some WordPress site, but nonetheless, credits to them for this image. It's clean and simple to illustrate this point. So torrenting is what's known as a P2P network, a peer-to-peer network, or person-to-person network, people-to-people network, whatever you want to call it. It's just from one person to another. That's what it's saying. And this is a graph of kind of how it explains how it explains it. So with a torrent, it's not a download that's coming from one source, one site, or one server. It's a download that's coming from multiple sources, and these are other people, other computers, other fellows who have downloaded this file before and still have it in their torrenting software, I guess. So, to briefly explain this, I don't want to make this an hour-long video. There's a lot that goes into torrenting, but it's also very simple on the surface. Is if when you download a torrent, there's a certain amount of something that's called seeders and a certain amount of something called leechers. Seeders are people who have downloaded this file and are now uploading it. Now this is an automatic process when using torrenting software, and are now uploading it for others to be able to download. Now the more seeders there are, the faster the download is. If you have one seeder on a file, it's going to take a while, most likely, to get that file. If you got 100 seeders, it's going to happen faster. You're getting it from 100 different sources, 100 different people, and it's all just going to come together quicker than if it was coming from one person. Now, leechers, to be brief, are people who are downloading the file and are not uploading it. So you always want to look for a file with as many seeders as possible and as little leechers. Now, it doesn't really work too much. It's not a full ratio kind of gig. It's more a focus on how many seeders there are. Like, you can have, a 1-to-1 seeder to leecher ratio, or a 3-to-1 seeder to leecher ratio, and it won't affect the download all that much. What you want to look for is a high quantity of seeders in general. So then this begs the question, how do I begin using torrents or downloading torrents? To get started, you would need a torrenting program, torrenting software. And the go-to and most popular program for this is something called uTorrent. Makes sense. And this has been the go-to torrenting software for years and years. I've used it for many years myself, up until recently. There is a new web browser that is changing the web, and you may have already know what it is, called Brave browser. Now, there's countless benefits, and I can go into why Brave browser is so good and why it's so beneficial. But for this video, it's more specifically beneficial to the fact that this comes built in with a torrenting downloading add-on, I guess you could say. You can download torrents directly in your browser. You can never do this before, and it's been a huge help. Brave is changing a lot of aspects when it comes to when it comes to browsing the internet. There's countless benefits. I'm using it now. You can see it's built on Chrome, the open source Chromium software. It's extremely fast, comes with built-in ad blockers, blocks trackers, all these privacy invasive things you do when you browse the web. So you have two options here. If you don't want to use Brave browser with the built-in torrent downloader, mind you, if you do use Chrome, this is built on Chrome. All your extensions, themes, and settings, bookmarks, all that import right over really easily. I'll leave a link in the description for you to download that. But the other option is just using uTorrent, and I'll go through that with you now to help you get set up. So the website is utorrent.com, and this will be the homepage you're presented with. I'm going to recommend you scroll down and use uTorrent Classic just so you have a standalone program. It's a little bit simple. It's a bit easier. I prefer it over the uTorrent web version. Just stick with uTorrent Classic, hit download. I'll have these links in the description for convenience, and it's going to try to sell you the best of the best versions. That's completely up to you because ads do come with the regular version. Mind you, if you just use Brave, there's no ads or whatever. It's just built into the browser, so it makes downloading torrents super fun and easy. So we're just obviously going with the free option here, and the download should begin. Now there's a few things to note when you're trying to get set up downloading torrents. There is somewhat of a risk involved in terms of what you download. Real quick, as you see, the download didn't seem to start, so just hit try again up here at the top and you should have it there. You can save it to wherever you want, your desktop. I usually just go to downloads and just hit save. So once it's done downloading, you can just click on that and it'll open up the installer to install uTorrent to your device or your PC. I'll bring it right over here so you can get a clear look. It's really simple. Just hit next. This is just a warning. There's a lot of scams involved with uTorrent. Our website have taken the client and attempted to charge money for it. As long as you're on uTorrent.com, you got the right one. Again, the links are in descriptions for the correct links. Hit next. You got to agree to their nonsense. You gotta so here's an optional offer. This is completely up to you. I'm gonna decline this because I don't like installing extra things. I only want uTorrent. Here it's trying to give me a Avast. I definitely don't want Avast. I'm just gonna hit decline. And if you want a desktop icon, check that. Quick launch icon, start menu icon, all that's fine to me. Leave all these set by default, except I don't like starting uTorrent when I boot my computer. That's up to you if you're seeding stuff. Once you've had it downloaded, it's good to have that. Just hit next and it's going to install. Should only take a few seconds, and there you go. Launch uTorrent and finish. So that's the installation. It's really simple, and I'll give you a quick overview of what it looks like. So here's uTorrent, the program itself. It can come off a little bit intimidating at first, but I'm going to break it down for you. It's a really simple, but I want to refer back to something I mentioned earlier where there's some risk involved in downloading torrents. Now, this completely depends on what you're downloading. A lot of people have used torrents to download pirated software, illegal programs, legal programs being, cracked versions, stuff of that sort, movies, so on and so forth. The list goes on. These can open you up to some risk. You can get in some trouble if you're doing this in mass. There is a way to protect yourself, and I want to make another video on this topic specifically, which is using a VPN, a virtual private network, which kind of masks your identity when doing this kind of stuff online. It makes it much more difficult for anybody to pin where you're from, who your internet service provider is, and stuff of that sort. And when downloading torrents, you want to use a VPN, and I will expand on this in another video that's soon to come. It can be quite important. I use a VPN very often, not even just for downloading torrents because I'm downloading anything fishy. It's just a safe practice to do when you're online. If you want to if your privacy is worth something to you, using a VPN can be worth it. And if you saw in the installer there was an offer for 75% off NordVPN, you can get really good deals for subscriptions to a good VPN like Nord. Nord is very good. Well, they are very good until recently. They've had a breach and some information's been leaked. So at this moment, I won't recommend Nord. However, there's much other better options. Like I said, I will make another separate video on this topic, but I just wanted to point that out real quick, that it is a good practice to use a VPN often, but most importantly when downloading torrent. So with all that said, I will go ahead and show you the most commonly used website people use to download torrents today. It's very simple. It's 1337x.to, and 1337 of course meaning leaked.x.to. They have a bunch of categories of which you can choose from, and we'll just go ahead and head up to the top where the top 100 torrents are. and I'll just click, see, here's what I mean. When people are downloading movies and stuff, a lot of this is frowned upon, but I'm doing this for just to educate you on how to download a torrent. This is where a lot of people get confused. They don't know what they're looking for, and then especially when you're downloading torrents for the first time, you don't even realize you needed software to download them to begin with. So here's a good example of a torrent with a lot of seeders, which makes for a good download. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this now. And so you're going to want to go to torrent download, and you could just click on one. I'm going to hit the first one, iTorrent mirror. Sorry. So this page you're seeing now is not something you're going to see unless you have Brave. This is what I meant when Brave has a built-in torrenting downloading add-on, I guess you can call it. Normally what's going to happen is you're going to get something like this. It's going to ask you to download it. So I'm just going to go ahead. This is what you're going to see. You're going to download this torrent file and save it, and it will open in uTorrent once you click it. So here we are now downloading this torrent. You're going to get a add new torrent menu option here. You'll be able to choose where you want to save it in, and mine's just going to go straight to my downloads folder, which is completely fine. And here are the files that are going to be included with this on the right here. So clearly the movie itself is right here. It's 1.12 gigabytes. All these other files are up to you. Sample, text files you don't need. I just want the movie. I'm just going to select the movie. And again, this is just so I can show you how to download torrents. And then you just want to hit OK, and it's going to head and begin this process automatically. Right now you see the status says connecting to peers. This is going to be looking for those people, the peer-to-peer, that have this downloaded and are now seeding it for others. So I'm going to give this a minute to get the process moving, and once it's got a bit of a connection, we'll resume. Oh, here we go. Don't even have to pause it. It's already finding seeders. So now we can download, and you can see the download speed starts moving up and up until as much as it can get from the other seeders. And it depends somewhat on your internet speed as well, but most dependent upon the availability of seeders out there. So as you see, it's going to give you over here an ETA. You can see all this information in this text box down here. Time elapsed is how long it's been since you started, how much of the file you already downloaded, your download speed. I'm up to 7, 8, now going to 9, almost 10 megabytes per second. So this is a really good speed. It tells you how much time you have remaining over here in the middle. It says I have about 2 minutes remaining. And then the upload information, which is once you become a seeder upon completion of the download, which will happen automatically, and I'm going to show you that. But if you go back over here to the left and you click this plus button under Torrents, it'll show you what's going on, how many things you're downloading, how many of them you are seeding, how many are completed, what's active and what's inactive. So right now we're downloading 1, and that's active, so you'll find a 1 in both of those categories. I'm going to go ahead and pause this until this download is done, or towards the end, so I can show you what happens when you become a seeder. Alright, so it's wrapping up now. You see my download speed was up to 17 megabytes per second there for a minute. It was moving along really good. This only took me a total of 2 minutes to download, and it's just wrapping up the finishing pieces here. And bam, as soon as the download's done, you're now seeding this. And you can see what you've uploaded, your upload speed, and stuff of that sort. So now I am seeding this, and it'll add to that seeder account on the page. So again, the more seeders there are, the faster the download. As you saw, there was over 1,700 seeders, and we downloaded this in a snap. So that's basically torrenting and downloading torrentings in a nutshell, but pretty thoroughly explained. That's all you really need to know, just the differences between seeding and leeching and how to actually get started. And I hope I answered those questions for you, and I hope this video was very informative. If it was, leave a comment below. Let me know what kind of speeds you're getting. Like the video. And this channel, we are doing 1 video a day, tutorials, tips, what have you, a whole video every day. So drop a subscription if you like this. And until tomorrow.